Well, hello everyone. Welcome again to the Real Estate Success Show. Here, I am Sean Sturrock, and I'm going to be talking to Mr. Matt Moreno. Been in the real estate space now for 6 years, so kind of like me, he was sort of a latecomer to the space, but has a very interesting story. Had a pretty rough start and turned things around here the last few years in a big way. So look forward to all you guys hearing Matt's story. We'll be right back with you here in about 20 seconds. Well, hello, Mr. Matt. Thank you, man, for taking a few minutes with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. So, man, let's start off. I'm sure everybody would like to know, who is Matt? What is Matt's background? Maybe share a little bit maybe about even your personal family life and kind of what was your journey leading up to getting your real estate license?
Right. So I'm Matt Moreno. Obviously, it says it right there on the screen. But we live here in Yuba City, California, which is 45 minutes north of the capital, right? It's 45 minutes north of Sacramento. And it's just like a little orchard that we live in, right in the middle of it. And I say that, but I mean, realistically, there's like 60,000 something people here. It has a real small town feel and always has. My wife and I have two daughters. They're 8 and 11. And,
Awesome.
So that's super fun. And I started out in real estate because, I always wanted to be in real estate since I was like 18. And I never had the nerve to do it because, agents tell you, well, you need to save up 6 to 8 months worth of income to be able to pay all your bills while you're failing forward in real estate. And that always scared me, because how does somebody that's making not enough money save money, right?
Yeah. How do you jump going full time into real estate when it's 100% commission?
Yeah, exactly. And so, something had happened. I was the director of security at the mall here, and we had an incident, and I didn't want to go back. And so Janelle was like, why don't you cash out your 401k and get into real estate? And the rest is history, so. And that's where I got my start. I got my license and signed on with a brokerage and immediately failed. I didn't even win a little bit and then fail. It was just like stepping right into the deep end.
And let me back you up a little bit. How did you choose your first brokerage? Because it's always interesting how everybody gets started their first brokerage. How did you choose the one you're at?
So they had a whole training program, and that was really cool. And I attended that, helping you study for your test and helping you get ready for that, right? And it would be puts you in that mindset, like every Tuesday or every Thursday or whatever, you go in and sit down with a bunch of people that are studying real estate, and you feel like they're really assisting you to get that license, And so once I had that license, I just went ahead and signed on with them because I felt like they brought me some value.
Makes sense.
And then once I was on with that brokerage, there was no support. And it was really disappointing because there was so much support when I was studying for the exam.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I was on with them, kind of like the faucet shut off, you know what I mean?
And how big a brokerage was it? How many agents were there?
I think 70 at this franchise.
Did you get to visit with any of them beforehand at all? Did anybody give you any kind of vibe like this is a great place, support?
Everybody that they had around us, because let's be real, it's a controlled environment, right? All of the classes were after business hours, and so the agents that we met while we were in training were only the agents that the brokerage wanted us to be around.
Gotcha. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then once we signed on, it was, I signed on first. I got my license a couple of years before Janelle did. And I was just sitting there trying to get a business together, and it was not as fun and exciting as it seemed. And I had some sales. I didn't have no sales. I mean, my first year was bad. I only had like 1 or 2 sales, and then that's
So
done.
you were digging into your 401k, having to grab some money.
That was already gone, brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a thing of the past at that point. And Janelle was working at a restaurant, waiting tables and doing real estate at one point when she got into real estate, And then, she kept asking, like, what do I do now? What do I do next? Who do I call? And I kept asking, who do I call? And they're like, just grind harder, guys.
Grind harder? What do you mean? They didn't give you
like grind harder or what? Like,
they didn't have a pool of leads or anything for you to call, just kind of like, go get them, Tiger?
Yep. It's just pat on the back and
yeah,
give it your all, bud.
That's scary. Yeah, you got to have some kind of direction.
Yeah. It just, it was unfortunate at the time, but I don't regret going through that because I would have missed out on that pain experience.
So you said a couple years with just a minimal amount of sales. So what was the changing point for you? When did things start to excel?
When did they start to what?
To excel. When did things start to turn around for you where all of a sudden, because I know you've now become extremely successful in only 6 years. So keep going down that journey. So first year, only 1 or 2 sales. Second year, what'd you do? How many more sales in? Is it starting to grow the second year?
Yeah, I mean, we did like 4 or 5 sales, I think, but it wasn't enough to keep us. It wasn't enough to sustain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And your bills are more than what you're bringing in. That's not good.
Been there.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
So I ended up taking on a job. I was a cook at a dive bar and grill out in a little town by Yuba City. And I worked there, at night. I was the closer or whatever. And that was really a turning point for me. I was like, oh, I'm not doing what I want to do. I didn't feel very good about who I was. And,
So
then you see your kids and you're like, okay, I mean, this is why I'm doing this, but, I want them to be happy with who I am as well.
Let me ask the question about what you said. So did you start off full-time? Did you jump in at first full-time, or were you always part-time out of the gate, had another job?
I did it 100% full-time.
Okay. And that was for almost 2 years before you realized, okay, I can't get this.
Yeah, before we had to have me take on a night job just to make ends meet.
Okay.
And then my sponsor had been talking to a lender friend of mine and told him how he can help me, basically.
Now, when you say your sponsor, you're referring to
EXP.
Okay. So
we're all under somebody.
Yeah, but you're not in EXP at this point. You're 2 years at your other brokerage. You're struggling. Right. You go get a part-time job.
Yep.
Okay. So before you ever came over to EXP, then what was the next progressing step? How did this whole thing get introduced? And what was it that really made you take off with your sales?
So I met Steve McCarthy.
Okay.
And, the McCarthys took us under their wing and taught us what they know. And
now, were they were like, I'm assuming, experienced veterans or something?
Oh, yeah. They're like mega agents, bro. They sell like 500 a year or something like that.
Ah, okay. And they were right here in your market. Now, had they already been at EXP for a while, or were they running their own brokerage, or how?
No, they've been at EXP for a while at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we just went to them for help. They helped us, and we did what they told us to, and we succeeded. So
okay, so you're about 2 years on your own. When did you? And then you said maybe 5 or 6 sales that second year. So was it your third year in real estate when you were introduced to the McCarthys?
Yeah, I think 2.5, 3 years into it, something like that.
Okay. And you said you met them through your lender.
Yeah.
And they decided did they start to kind of mentor and help you even before you came to EXP, or they just began to share with you, hey, here's what we're doing at our brokerage. Would you like to come team up with us kind of thing?
So Steve does a ton of online content and has, and you know, he lives here in Yuba City like us, you know, and I was consuming his live content because, you know, I was trying to figure out what I needed to do in real estate. And he was the only person locally that was giving any information on that subject, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I reached out to him because I had seen so much that he was posting, and I just figured, man, I mean, he could help me out, you know?
Okay.
And he sure did.
And so that's when you guys made the move. You wanted to team up with him and thought, man, if he's giving me a little bit of stuff right now, I can't imagine if I were to team up and partner with him. So that's when you guys joined over here at EXP, and kind of take us down that path. So you go from another, I guess, brokerage that had about, you said 70 agents. You now see EXP, which was like we say, a virtual brokerage that had
Right.
multiple ways that you could create income and stuff. What was it that really, was it mainly Steve that first attracted you over? Or did you also really break down our model and go, man, honey, this would be a great place for us to call home? But what was the whole transition like? And what mainly pulled you over other than Steve?
So we needed training. Bottom line,
Okay.
we were starving for training. We wanted to do this for a living, and
Yeah.
you can't do that blind.
Yeah.
You know,
Need a roadmap.
you'll trip and fall over some real estate for, you know, every once in a while throughout the year, but unless you know what you're doing, you're not going to make it. And so we came over here for the training,
Okay.
the education.
And touch on that for the folks who may not be familiar at all with what the kind of training that's provided here. What does that look like? Give them an idea.
So for us, it was like when we came on, I don't know what they're pumping into the world now, but it was like 50 hours a week of training.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was amazing.
It was the same thing when I first saw it 5 years ago, but now I think it's up to about 80 to 100 hours a week, which is still just hard to fathom. No one could go through all the training, but everything's available there. Okay. So you plug into this, start getting trained and so forth. What was anything else draw you to this model for you and Janelle?
Not really. It was training. And then once we were here, I was really excited about the technology. Yep. I'm a huge nerd. I love computers. And so technology was really a big plus for me.
So what is the technology that we offer here at EXP? What has that done for you and your business? And it could do for any agent if they decided to partner up with us.
I mean, you know, everybody talks about EXP world, right?
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that I can go to somebody from my computer and talk to them and have really, I've had them solve every problem that I've ever come across on that platform.
And speak to how quickly, because that's the one thing I hear from agents all the time.
Oh, it's immediate.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you get there within certain hours of operation, like any other business, they get things done immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me back here in Dallas, I'm in a central time zone. I mean, we're pretty much 8 to 8. We're 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I can jump in the virtual campus and get support and, still reach out to the broker and all that stuff. But yeah, so the support training. So talk a little bit more about the technology. Was it mainly just the virtual campus, or were there certain technology tools and systems that you were immediately able to use that started?
Well, I mean, our CRM is really good, way better than I had before, you know, way more interactive with my clients. And that was really cool. I enjoyed getting an OKV core and just utilizing it, you know. Yeah, that's how we came over. That's why we came over. And we just did what we were told, basically, and we found success through it.
And so have you guys always been a solo agents? Obviously you and your wife are a partnership.
Right.
But have you guys always worked by yourself? Were you ever on a team? Did you?
Yeah, we were never on someone else's team.
Okay.
We were always solo agents, and like we are a team, you know.
Yeah.
A husband-wife team. I think EXP calls it domestic partnership or whatever. But yeah, that's how we are structured. So.
And so you've been here at EXP now, what is it, going on around 3 years? Is that about right?
I think so. Yeah, going on 3 years.
Okay. And have you formed any kind of a traditional team, or are you just working on building a modern team?
No, so it's me and her as the team, and then I think of a team as a little different. I'm not a conventional team where I'm taking
Splits or anything.
portion of, let's be real. I mean, a certain portion of commission to provide leads. I'm not doing that for anybody, mainly because I want the people that are under me. Like, I'm already responsible for their success, right? Anybody that signs on with me as their sponsor, I want them to have a reason to try. And I've noticed with a lot of teams, like traditional structures, yeah, they may be getting those leads, but they're not following up on them. They're not calling them,
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into a situation where I have to go through that. So
I'm going to share with the group real quick, just for them to understand. If anybody ever decides to partner over here with us at EXP, you can still build a traditional team like you could at any brokerage, where you will take a certain portion of the splits and you're going to provide value above and beyond what EXP is doing, which means maybe you may be providing leads, maybe a transaction coordinator, photography, whatever. And that's wonderful. You can do that. But over here, we also have another option to build what's called a modern team, which means you can simply refer or sponsor agents to EXP. EXP has the training, they got the brokers, but instead of getting any kind of kickback or split from the agents you bring on board, you bring them onto the modern team, no money comes out of their pocket, but yet we still get paid from EXP every time they close a transaction. EXP shares some of the revenue with us. So yet you are still wanting to help those agents. You're just not taking any of their money. They're getting the exact same pay you are, right? But yet they have access to everything we do, and they still can come to you for even additional support. So it's like the best of both worlds, right? You're not taking any money out of the agent's pocket. And the other thing I love about it, they can brand themselves. That's the only thing I've ever had that if I had to, I never joined a team when I first started either, a traditional team. But the main reason I didn't want to is I wanted to brand myself right out of the gate. And it sounds like that's, what you guys have done. And that's the route you're going with all the agents who are coming on board with you guys. They're branding themselves, but yet you're just one team working together, yet you're not taking any additional splits. And that's the part I love about it.
Yeah.
I'd say share with us, has there been any time when you and Janelle, whether it's you, the both of you, or your team, where you have felt stuck at some, I'm sure it's happened multiple times, and how was it solved very quickly at EXP? Give me some examples.
When I first started my computer, the speakers wouldn't play. They would play perfectly everywhere else, but when I went into the EXP world, I couldn't hear anything from surrounding, or when I went to training, I couldn't hear anything. So I went to the tech department, and they went into my computer from the back end in Canada, wherever they're at, and they fixed it in like minutes. And they were like, "Is that better? Is that better, eh?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's perfect." Thanks.
Yeah.
And it was so quick. It was so effortless. All I had to do is go into the tech department, and they fixed my computer.
Okay. Give me another example, maybe one that relates to whether it was a transaction you guys were struggling with, something that was going on where you had to get additional support at EXP.
I mean, multiple times with issues. I had a nightmare of an escrow, and the house ended up burning down.
Okay.
Prior, like 3 days before the close of escrow.
Wow.
And so I had to go into the broker's room for that, and they took care of me. And made sure that I was protected, made sure that my clients were protected and got their EMD back, and it was perfect.
Okay. Coaching and training. Have you guys got involved in any type, or ever had a coach or a trainer yourself?
So Steve McCarthy is my coach.
Okay.
And trainer. Bottom line, like, they're here for me for everything. So.
And it's not necessarily, you mind me asking, are you paying him additional money, or
Yep.
this is just because you guys are all working together as a team?
This is because we're partnered. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. If you wanted to share with anybody in regards to the journey you've been on now since you've been here for 3 years, can you walk us through, because obviously your guys' sales have really taken off.
Right.
Let some agents in the audience know, what was it you guys started to do when you came over at EXP? What was it that really helped you ramp things up and get production at the point it's at now? And what are those numbers, if you don't mind sharing?
So, I mean, we're selling like 20 homes a year now. So it's not a huge number, but it's huge for our area. It's huge for us.
And what's your average price out there for you guys, Matt?
Right now, it's still a little inflated at about 435.
Okay, well, 20 of them, that's not too shabby right there. That's good.
It's not bad, right? I know.
Yeah.
It's just, I know a lot of agents that sell a lot more, right?
Yeah.
And I never look at them as competition. I just look at it like, hey, I've got to double or triple my business year after year. And what really changed for us was a mindset change. Bottom line, we were no longer worried about what the person on the other end of the phone call felt about us making the call. We're just making calls and making connections, getting to know people and having them get to know, like, and trust us.
Gotcha. Okay, so here you are now doing averaging about 20 sales. And what do things look like for you? In other words, if I were to ask you, Matt, let's go out 3 years from now, knowing the model that you have hold of and the multiple income streams and stuff, when you look out 3 to 5 years down the road, what do you foresee? Do you and your wife kind of plan this out and go, honey, if we keep doing this, here's what this could look like? Or maybe another way to phrase that is, how there's so many things we can do to make money in real estate.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's flipping houses, investments, building a team, becoming your own independent broker, whatever it might be. Do things look any different for you guys as you look out 3 to 5 years?
So in 3 to 5 years, we're still going to be in production. I hope to be selling quite a bit. I hope to have more people under me. I'm a certified mentor with the company.
Okay.
So
good.
I really believe that once you hit a level of success, it's time to give back. And so that's what I've been really focused on lately, and kind of putting my future focus into. I wrote a book that teaches people. I mean, it's my story to success, but it also teaches what to do in your first 90 days of real estate, how to work with buyers, sellers, investors, how to start marketing your business and all of that. And so I'd like to get into doing that a lot.
I gotcha. So you have written a book. Well, first of all, congratulations. That's not an easy task right there. I'm sure that took serious hours. What's the name of your book, you said?
It's Path of Travel, the power behind know, like, and trust.
Huh, very interesting. Where can people get that if they want to get a copy of it?
It's on Amazon.com.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
Path of Travel. Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
And it's available both a paperback and an ebook if people want to look into it. It's just our story, and I tell everybody how to do what I did, and if you do it says in the book, you'll find the same results, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. It's right. They teach us in school, you're not supposed to cheat. Yet as we all get out in the real life, you learn from the most successful people in the world.
You get out in real life and it's all about rip off.
Find someone that has what you want, do what they do, and you have a chance to get what they want. You got to copy what they do. It's so funny how the world changes as you get out in the real place. So as we wrap this up, is there anything you would want to share? So if there was people viewing this today and they're like, you know what, I've heard a little bit about this. I don't really know maybe the details and stuff. What might you say to any agent that's on the fence in regards to eXp Realty?
I'd say, let me just show you. Contact me and let me just show you. Prove to you that it's not just a model, right? Like, this is a brokerage like any other. It just has way more support than you'll ever find anywhere else.
Yeah. And I'll add to that. I agree. The support is unreal. The collaboration, the training, the masterminds, but the multiple income streams have obviously, and from what I've been here now for 5 years and 4 months, just the equity piece, I just to share with your audience right now, which is pretty incredible. You guys think about it. Over here, you sell homes like you would any other brokerage and you're going to get paid, but you get paid a second way on top of it which is in equity, and we pay you equity in stock ownership 5 different ways. So every time you sell a house, you get paid, but you get stock. House, stock, house, stock. At some point in time, this little equity piece can turn into a nice little potential nest egg, retirement, exit plan. So definitely feel free to reach out to Matt or myself with more details. We can even go as far as to kind of plug some of your numbers in from the last year or two in your production and show you what that could look like today had you just been here doing the same thing you're doing today. So that's one of the other huge advantages I like, is there is now a potential retirement path by simply having your license hung here. And we've seen some serious, incredible stories in 4 to 5 years. Obviously, you're enticed even more here to increase your production because your equity piece goes up even faster. So any one thing you'd like to leave the audience with about you and your team and what you guys are doing out there?
Just if you need my help, call me. Bottom line, I'm here for anybody.
There you go.
I don't care what brokerage you're at. I don't care if you want to come to EXP or not.
Yeah.
If you need my help, my number is 530-216-6716. Call it. I'm here for you.
That is awesome. Well, Matt, man, we sincerely appreciate your time. Congrats on you guys getting things turned around. I know that was a rocky start to begin with. Congrats on your family and your 2 little girls. And man, I look forward to seeing you out of some of the major events and continue to hear and watch your success as you guys continue to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Sincerely appreciate it. Have an incredible Labor Day weekend.
You too.
Buddy?
Thanks,
Matt. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.